Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's part of the shtick.
Got it.
Okay, we're ready. We're running.
Okay, Trucking with Pugs. I got Dino Vortex English here with me today. And Dino, where are you from?
I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. Born and raised there, but I live in Lexington, Kentucky now, with my wife
Right.
and her family.
Very good. So you've been on the road for a while now, is that right? Yeah, as far as with this particular ensemble that you're playing with today?
Say that again? I don't.
You've been on the road now with this ensemble that you're playing with today now for a while. And how do you prepare yourself for a show?
I don't really know how to answer that question.
Okay. I know it's early. We came by it's the breakfast time, folks.
Yes,
So we're
coffee.
a little bit early in the day.
And by the way, we are at Camp Vortex here. This is the epicenter.
This is ground zero.
Yeah, day 3. Survived a pretty good storm last night.
Right.
How'd you guys fare? You look like you're still
Yeah.
here.
I think we did all right, right? And I heard you boys finished up just in time to get out of there before it really let loose
Yeah, and just in time to come back here and get.
and get drenched. Right?
But yeah, typically I will before a show I'll warm up for about an hour or up to an hour. Most times it's not longer than that, but I warm up a little bit here and there throughout the day. Just doing getting my hands moving, hit paradiddles and double stroke rolls and whatever else, some rudiments.
Getting
Yeah.
loosened up for the gig, so to speak.
Yeah.
Getting your mind in sync and your body as well.
Yeah, as long as I have my hands moving, everything else will come into place. Yeah, I run through a series of things, and pretty much that.
Kind of like the calisthenics of drumming, kind of, sort of.
Yeah,
Kind of getting yourself together for the event. So you've got some other things going on also. I hear you got like recording work going on the side and some things. Exactly. I hear you've got some recording work going on at home. You've got yourself a nice setup where you can take some music and kind of piece everything together and make albums and CDs of you and other folks besides the Dark Star.
yeah, that's one of the fun things I do on my time off from Dark Star, or even while we're on tour, I work on it. Just music production. I basically have a studio at home. I can record 16 tracks at once at this point. But I work on all sorts of different stuff. Other people's material with a whole separate band. A lot of times I participate in it in one way or the other, play drums on their tunes.
And then put the layered tracks on top of each other, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is typical studio fare nowadays.
right. Is using of the computer and the technology to make all that happen.
Yeah, there's very little tape left anymore. There's not much tape going on. You as a taper probably know that too.
I understand that. That's all over with.
Yeah, we've all moved on to new technology most of the time.
Right.
Funny experience.
You got any funny experiences you want to share with us?
Well,
You bring.
I've been known to have problems when I'm laughing. Especially on a full stomach.
Okay.
I don't know. One time these guys claim that maybe we shouldn't talk about it.
Okay, we won't go that way. All right.
I've been advised by my publicist to ixnay on the.
To put a cap on that one. I got you. Right. Okay, so let's go back as a performer. I mean, you've got to have like a certain air of Grateful Dead music you probably personally prefer over others. I mean, as a Deadhead, I think we can all say we've got different preferences when it comes to that, like a 70 or 69 or 80 or whatever the number is?
Well, coming into the band, which has been, I don't know, 12 years ago now, I definitely had a preference, but I very quickly learned to appreciate all the time periods. And even recently now, the latest one is the 60s stuff. I really wasn't a big 60s fan, unlike, you know, some of the other guys in the band.
Right.
But learning the stuff, it really opened me up to appreciating it and enjoying it a lot. And now, you know, I definitely have a strong appreciation for it. I think my issue with it mostly before was there wasn't that many great recordings, or, you know, the recordings were really raw back then, and I just really liked hearing the better recordings of the.
Right. Now that things have gotten better technology and people have mastered some things, and we've
They've been
gotten
able
a chance
to
to listen to this in a
improve
different set of
a
ears.
lot more listenable now.
Right. Yeah. Now you can clarify and you can make opinions on that stuff a lot easier.
Yeah.
Right. As Dead, did you ever get to go see the Dead, or
Oh yeah.
Proper, Garcia?
I'm the baby of Deadhead of the band. I started in '91. I lived in St. Louis, so they didn't come through there. I think the '83 they came through, and that was right when I first started going to concerts. And somehow that '83 St. Louis show slipped by me.
Right.
So I didn't really get on the bus until '91. I had friends who tried to tell me, you know, what was going on with this Grateful Dead music, and I just didn't get it. They'd play me tapes and just didn't understand. I mean, it was like, what is so big about this shit?
Right.
I mean, stuff. I guess this is not going to be broadcast on TV, so at least anytime in the near future. But anyway, so.
Tell us how you became a drummer.
Where would you start out with that?
Well, I always, growing up, I wanted to play drums growing up, but my parents didn't want to deal with the noise. So it wasn't until I was 15 and I could afford to buy my own drum kit that they finally relinquished their.
But didn't they put you into some other instrument?
They started me on guitar. Yeah, so I started playing guitar in 5th grade. You know, it's just acoustic folk songs, learning the chords and stuff.
Right.
And I'm glad I did that, because although I'm not much of a guitar player now, I still use it to write songs and understand music theory and that kind of thing.
Right. So at an early age, it sounded your parents kind of picked up on your ability to find rhythm within yourself.
Yeah, the family's come from a musical family. My mom was a vocal major. All my brothers play guitar, and still do.
Right.
And my oldest brother's a pedal steel player.
Okay. So there's a lot of musicians in the family.
Yeah.
So you guys.
And my dad even gave songwriting a little, thing way back in the 50s or something like that. He tried to write a few songs.
Right. You get together at home? Do you, when everybody gets together, do you break out some play some music together?
Actually, the only time the English Brothers band played was at our wedding. That was the only time we've ever played together.
Interesting.
I'm 10 years younger than everybody else, so there's quite a gap.
Right.
But my brother, Rocky, was a Deadhead, and my other brothers, appreciated him as well.
Very good.
So I kind of had I remember seeing this. I'd go into his room and he had the sticker of the Skull and Roses on his mirror, and I always found that fascinating. And
You said to yourself, what was that about?
yeah,
What's that all about?
Yeah, as a 4-year-old, I was like, wow.
Right. Now, Skull and Roses, that's kind of interesting, because that was the album that actually got me kind of hooked. It was like, somebody, my brother, I think, had that, that and Little Feats Waiting for Columbus and that type of stuff. So, you know, that's kind of interesting because 71 kind of like a prime of that period, you know, as far as the music goes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how I got hooked on that as far as like album listening
Yeah.
to this shit, you know what I mean?
I really like that album a lot too.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good qualities to it for you know, an LP that was put out, you know, and now it's been remashed. I think
Yeah.
it sounds great. So, all right, so
Great Billy drum solo on that one.
yeah, got some good stuff. Great Wharf Rat, right? I mean, I always adored that one, so I thought that was a good version of that song. So, I don't know. When you get home, what do you do?
Well, I have a 1.5-year-old little girl now, so I spend a lot of time with her.
Right.
And I pretty much watch her all the time. And when she takes naps, I work on music or clean the house.
Everyone
you know?
there's time, right? All right. And I also understand you've got like this alternate ego on the internet type thing where you've got this name that on a certain board out there, the philzone.com, where
Phil Zone questions.
yeah, Philzone questions, right? You knew I was going to get to this board. So we got Vortex, and this is something I know the guys out there that read the Phil Zone, they respect you a lot for your opinions and the way that you know, explain things and make it seem very simple, you know, that people can understand it, you know, that it's not as complicated as maybe it might seem on the outside world. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, the Phil Zone is an interesting little place because people just let it all loose there and no holds barred, you know, there's no, you know, it's a full-on, people state their opinions as brutally as they feel like it.
Right.
And, you know, that's one of the things about the internet. You know, people hide behind the internet sometimes, and
They hide behind the keyboards and they shoot words.
Phil
right?
Zone's a great place to do that because it's like
All opinions are welcome as far as I can tell. And maybe
Yeah.
not so welcome depending on your personality.
yes. I mean, they you know, if you're a newbie that comes in there,
Okay. They'll chew you up.
they'll chew you up.
Okay,
So
right. But I've noticed you've you know, you've been the person that's gone in and put out some fires.
well,
You know what I mean? And kind of been the voice of reason on some issues that
I'm
you
kind of
know,
there
obviously-
to more or less. I love you know, we have our own board, the DSO forums, and that's fun to read and everything. But as a Grateful Dead fan, you know, that's not my spot.
Right.
I need, you know, as a fan and not a band member, I just need a place to go hang out as a fan.
I got you. Right.
So,
Right, I hear you. Right,
you
it's
know,
Dino English.
Yeah.
Right, I hear you.
And
right.
so I, you know, kind of gravitated towards the Phil Zone.
That makes sense. Right, felt like home, it sounds like.
And so, you know, I think there's a lot of misperception out there, or there has been, you know, regarding our band and our shtick. You know, for anywhere from people thinking that we play the show note for note to we dress up just like them. You know, these are all false things.
Right.
We don't ever talk about how we look. Other than you look like shit today.
Or your presentation. Right, I understand. Right.
And you know, it's all about the music.
Right.
So
I realize that. I mean, watching you guys over the years, I can certainly get the vibe for which you're trying to permeate the public with.
So you know, a lot of times those guys will just say stuff just to try to get your goat, you know, or whatever. But some of them.
I have a question. How has touring changed since you started with DSO until now?
Yeah. That was one of mine.
Well, the band has changed for one. When I first started, actually the whole band has changed. Lisa at that point was coming out on certain runs. You know, we do a Colorado run, and so she would come out for 5 days or something like that, and we do a string of mid-70s or early 70s shows then. But
trying to get her integrated into the band. It
yeah,
sounds like.
but at that point it was you know, 6 of us most of the time out there on the road, and my first tour was with Amir, another drummer. Basically, Rob and I came in together, but Amir still had one tour to do before Rob came in. So my first tour, it was completely, every single member is different. You know, we had Mike Hasdra on bass, and Mike Marat on guitar, John on guitar, and Scott.
On the keyboards, right?
Yeah,
On the
and
keys.
Amir.
Right.
So you're the oldest active member.
Well, no, that's not true because Kevin
took a hiatus. When you
Kevin started off and played the first. Let's see here. I think he played about maybe 6 months or something like that,
Right.
and then he took off. So he was there at the first shows, and Lisa played shows early on. So she's definitely, those two are considered, you know, still old. You know, they've been in the band longer.
Seniority
Yeah.
wise, right? They would be timetable wise.
But then me, and then Chords, and then, you know, then Eaton eventually dropped in, you know, after he did some shows with us, and then he was working at the time too as a studio engineer, so he was kind of bouncing back and forth. And
Here we go, the ice cream man.
ice cream fan. But
Another Nelson legend, the ice cream man.
But I think that the change has been good. You know, I think all the players have brought something to Dark Star. They've all been good. Maybe the guys who lasted, you know, more than a month. You know, they all kept the music intact, and then played with integrity and skill. But I believe the chemistry we have going now, the band on stage live chemistry that we have now is definitely the best it's ever been in 12 years.
You look tight in the band. I've been following the band for 6 years, and 7 or 8 years.
Right, and things are really going fluidly. It seems to me, I don't get to see you guys much, even though I'm around a lot, but when I check in every couple months, it seems like it goes up just a little bit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I can tell that. You know, I can tell you guys have all kind of fallen into that groove.
Yes, Jeff has definitely been an awesome addition to the band. He's
And Lisa picking up the harp, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
That adds a lot.
Right.
Oh yeah. And that was a perfect solution to our heart problem because you know, we just opted to start doing the 60s stuff, even though Baracco didn't learn the harmonica or hadn't learned the harmonica yet. And he always said he was going to, but he just doesn't have the heart for it.
Right.
He just, you know, he wouldn't sit down and practice with it. He loves his piano too much, you know. So having Lisa jump in and do that is perfect solution for that.
To cover that,
Yeah.
to cover that instrument.
Yeah, because it really is all about the colors. It's not about the individual doing what part or whatever.
One
As
thing
long
or
as
another.
all the parts are there, that's really the key.
Painting a picture musically,
Yeah.
basically, and filling in all the places that don't already exist within the band with another player, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Taking a traditional approach to the music. You know,
Right, and trying to approach it the way that the original band done it way back, you know, whenever that was. You've been all over the place. Is there a certain town or a certain venue you like over others, or?
Well, this one's a good one.
You like this one?
I do. Nelson Ledge is a lot of fun. You've probably seen lots of footage of the lake and whatever. I mean, it's good. It's a quarry. It's beautiful. I'm getting ready to go floating right now.
Right. Go cool
And
off.
I'm gonna go watch or listen to JGB. I think they're
This
coming up.
afternoon, yeah.
And I'll probably be floating on and listening to them at the same time.
See, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that, right? You can kind of float and swim and listen to good music at the same time.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
kind of a rare thing.
this place is a little chaotic sometimes too, a little too chaotic for some in the organization sense, because
it's a lot of work for a weekend.
Yeah.
I realize that. Yeah.
but certainly is a fun place. We've done it, I guess, 11, 12 times now.
Right.
So,
This is a nice laid back place.
yeah.
So,
But other places, you know, all the big towns. That Penn's Peak is pretty cool. You know, it's always nice to do that Thanksgiving run where it's Penn's Peak on Wednesday, and then New York City Nokia Theater on Friday and Saturday.
right.
And we didn't do that last year, but we're back to that this year.
Right. You varied last year. I think you were out west. Is that
Yeah,
San Francisco?
I
Maybe?
can't remember.
Right. But we weren't in Penn's Peak. I realize that.
And then, you know, just big cities, Philadelphia, of course San Francisco,
So there's like pockets of energy. It sounds
Portland,
like, yeah.
Oregon.
What about one of my favorite venues, Minnesota Zoo?
Oh yeah, yeah, we just did that the other day. It's a fun gig.
Yep.
And I like the way it's set up. It's kind of like a mini,
Mini amphitheater. It seems.
well, yeah, it's like a mini Greek almost. You know.
That would
It
be a
is.
good
Yeah,
one.
it is. It's very good.
That's a good one. Yeah, with the zoo right there. Very cool. Well, Dino, thanks for taking some time with us.
Thank you guys for taping and doing the interview.
Absolutely, buddy.
Okay,
You
thanks a
have a
lot,
good
Dino.
day, man. Thank you. That was awesome.